I'm recording. Welcome to Here We Go Cleveland, a podcast about Cleveland sports by small town fools. I'm your host, Bill Hebel, here alongside my co-host, as always, Michael Zappa.
What's up?
That was a pretty enthusiastic "What's up?" I was throwing out some holy shits the past couple weeks, but this was a deflating week for all the Browns fans out there.
Yeah, it's about the only thing that I can get excited about in Cleveland sports right now. It's a little too early to start getting 100% behind on the Cavs, I guess, because football season's still in full swing. But these last 3 or 4 games have just been they've been tough to watch.
Yeah,
So
they haven't. Speaking of disgruntled Cleveland fans, you know what? You know what they could use this time of year?
I don't know what Bill. Tell me, what could they use?
Maybe a free T-shirt. Maybe a free "Here We Go Cleveland" T-shirt. And it's not so.
Those exist.
They exist.
Yes.
They exist for the 6 people that saw the hat preview on our Instagram story. We have ordered the first of, what has to be millions of rounds of merch for our avid listeners, and so we invite those. We got some T-shirts to give away, so we invite those. If you want a free T-shirt, here's the caveat: you have to send us a question about the Browns, about Cleveland sports, to mailbag@herewegocleveland.com. So that's, again, mailbag@herewegocleveland.com. Send in your questions, include your name and your
Location.
address. We'll ship you the shirt for free. I think we've got just a variety of adult mediums and larges for male and female. So send in a question. We'll read it. There's no deadline for this. So
Bill, are you gonna be posting a picture of the?
Yes, I will. I'll post a picture
gram?
to the Instagram and to the Facebook. If you saw our Instagram story, it's the same logo as our podcast logo, just slapped on a T-shirt. That's what I called my shirt guy. I got a guy for everything. I called my shirt guy and said, "Look at this logo. Can you just slap this on a T-shirt?" And he's like, "I'll slap it for you."
That's what shirt guys do, right? That's what they do.
That's what they do. That's what they do.
Yeah.
So yeah, mailbag. If I haven't said it enough, mailbag@herewegocleveland.com. We actually got some good response on merch from the Instagram story. So we'll throw that sack down the road a bit and wait for some more people. But
we want to give it to our listeners over our friends, because our friends have been begging us for merch. And they were super pumped to see the finished product, but
right.
We want to give it out to the weekly listeners before any friends get the.
Yeah, and we kind of want to see who outside of our friends is actually listening to this podcast.
So honestly, if the two of you that are out there, maybe one, if you could just shoot us a question, you're basically guaranteed a shirt. So
yeah. So. All right. With that, I don't think we told the people. We didn't really announce it very well last week, but we were at the game.
Yeah,
we were at the game on
for
Sunday
better or for worse
against the Ravens. Yeah, for better or definitely for worse. You were smart and you took the Ravens with the 7-point spread, which they obviously covered by 17 points, and I thought that the AFC North was going to conjure up a weird game, and it did not.
Yep.
So give me, this is a tough game because usually, these other games that we've lost, these 14 other games that we've lost, there's a silver lining in it.
Yeah.
But
and I've always been able to find it.
Right.
And I've always been able to find it.
But, are you still searching? I'm still searching for the silver lining from this week's game.
I guess I got hit with a dose of reality at the game this week, because all season we've been talking about how optimistic we've been. And to your point exactly, we've picked out kind of things that stood out to us in each game that we could build upon, whether it be, a strong defensive presence, a goal line stand, 5 forced field goals. There's been a variety of things where you can step away and say this part of our team performed really well.
Right.
But this week was just the first game that, to me, it looked like the Ravens weren't even trying and they were getting everything that they wanted. Like, yeah, we had some good defensive stands and stuff like that, but it just didn't. Watching it live, and being able to watch the whole field and all the matchups like as you wanted to, as opposed to watching it on TV, we're not winning a whole lot of matchups. So, and I was just thinking, after the game that took us to 0-14, it's a crazy losing streak.
Yeah.
To lose 14 games in any sport, even in baseball where they play 162 games, it's considered a really bad losing streak at 14.
Yeah.
We're talking a winning percentage of like less than, in the last 2 years, less than 10%.
Well, right. Well, in any other sport, think of like when after LeBron left and the Cavs, they lost like 25, 26 straight.
But that's still 25% of the season.
Right. I was going to say that only lasts a month, but like the Browns, for it to last just the entire season is like, it is so depleting for a fan base.
It's again, we talked about this at 0-9, 0-10, but at 0-14, and who knows what'll happen this week and that last week of the season with Pittsburgh. If anyone's watching, I can honestly say the last year I didn't watch the last 2 games because I was just like, even if we win them, I still come out of the season feeling not great.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of where I am now. But to win one game in 30 tries or 20, I guess, 30 tries. So we're 1-29 in the last 30, right?
Right. Yep.
So it's like that is just that is so historically bad. It's almost like the NFL is built to like for teams to be able to go up and down, but on average, like if you don't do anything extravagant, like spend in free agency, you just draft pretty decent, like you should be able to go 8-8 every year.
Right.
Like and to just be that bad for 2 years straight, I don't want to gang up on them because I'm so sick and tired of hearing everyone just trash them. But after this week, they were getting trashed from all corners of the internet. Bill, yeah. It's honestly, to me, it's funny anymore because it's like something completely unrelated to football. They'll be like, well, shit, at least they're not the Cleveland Browns.
Right. Yeah. So, I think this week, I don't know if I said it on the pod, but I definitely have said it to you and a couple other friends that, at least this year, the Browns were never compared to, could Alabama beat them?
Yeah.
But I think that game kind of, put the meter down into I think a college team could give them a run for their money. It was... It's so
what
bad.
hurts? You know what hurts me the most?
What's that?
Is that this is a quarterback league, as we know, and I'm still convinced that Deshaun Kaiser is a good quarterback.
How do you still feel that way as that he's the Browns starter still? They have no other options at this point, but
no, I just think he has been so improperly managed. Like to the extent that and been forced into a role that he was too early, like with no talent, and put all this pressure on at too young of an age. I think the kid, I hope and pray, because I think he says all the right things. I think he puts in the work. I think he represents the team well. I don't know if you follow him on Instagram, but they have every Tuesday off. That's their off day.
Yeah.
And he's always at like the university hospitals, like giving back and stuff. And I think that's so he has all of that stuff. And that's the first time I can say that about a Cleveland quarterback in a long time. So I just and I
What
and
was
when I
what was
watch
you don't
him,
think Manziel was doing that on a Tuesday?
yeah, and when I watch him play, you know, 80% of what he does is okay. The
Yeah,
other
and
20% is just so bad
oh
that
yeah,
it
it
outweighs.
complete right.
So it's like if he cleans up those 15 to 20% of the horrid mistakes that he's making, like the
And
kid is not
it's
he's
all
not
red zone
bad.
mistakes. It's
Yeah.
I don't know what it is about when some quarterbacks get down near the goal line, but it's like
Some feast and some just
right,
destroy themselves.
exactly, and it's the ones that you know Mike Lombardi talks about this all the time is like turning those those drives into 4 point plays. Can you get a touchdown? A touchdown versus a field goal is a 4 point play, and for
Hmm.
us to I don't know how many times I don't know what our red zone success rate is this year, but I mean it feels like half of the time we get out with 0 plays or zero
Yeah.
points.
Right. No,
So
you're right.
I mean, I don't know if you were paying attention, but that interception that he threw in the back of the. I mean, I could have thrown that ball out of bounds. The
Yeah.
interception where he scrambled out to his left. That was like
That was
when
the
I saw.
easiest pick Carr has ever had in his life. I think he was surprised.
I
I
think he
think he was
was too.
surprised that it was that simple for him. Because you're exactly right. Put another 2 feet of strength behind it, and it goes out of the back of the end zone.
Right, right. I mean, it was like he was running in front of another Baltimore guy who was in front of the Cleveland guy that Kaiser was trying to throw to. I guess Kaiser was trying to throw to. I don't know what kind of pocket he was throwing it in, but it's just like just throw that ball out of bounds.
Well, and he was rolling out to his left, right? He Once you're out of the pocket, you can just throw it out of bounds
Right, right. And
with no penalty.
the one of the worst parts of that is like usually if he's trying to sneak that ball in there, he's going to give it some effort.
Yeah.
He just kind of like just threw it with his wrist and tried to like I don't know if he was trying to like finesse it in there. I don't know. I don't know.
He was trying to pull the string. I don't know what that means. I've heard him say it before in the NFL. Just look at him pull the string. I don't
Yeah,
know what that means,
yeah.
but
I don't know. As,
yeah,
as NFL podcasters, we can say those phrases without having to explain what they
yeah.
actually mean.
Can
So
you just explain to the listeners what they mean when on TV when they say the quarterbacks are pulling the string? I know what they mean, but
yeah.
just for anyone who's listening who doesn't know.
It's a throwback to the Woody toy that came out of Toy Story back in the '90s, and it means that because you know how a snake like slithers through small areas. So if you're pulling the string, there's a snake in your boot, so you're trying to boot out to the left and then snake that in there.
Gotcha. Perfect sense. Perfect sense.
Oh
I've
man,
always
but
wondered.
so I mean, do you have any? I don't know if I have anything else to say about that last game. That was just pretty.
I don't know. Bill, all year we've said how we want to be the eternal optimist. And even John Dorsey came on at his press conference and said, "Look, I'm an eternal optimist. I'm always going to think positive." And I'm just having a really hard time doing it now because first of all, I didn't think we'd be talking about a 1 or 2 win season again this year. I thought at worst we'd be talking about a 4-win season.
Maybe Hugh's
And
saving it for the Christmas Eve again.
And this town would be doing backflips if we had 4 wins. 4 wins. You know how crazy that is too? Like we would be going nuts
exactly.
if we had 4 wins. So anyway, I'm just, all that being said, I at least hoped that out of this season we would have established some sort of strength to our team. And it's just like even on our defense, we have a good run defense, but our defensive backs are just so thin, I guess would be the word. I think there is some talent there, but we're just so thin that our defense isn't anything exciting. And Myles Garrett is about the only guy on the line who consistently can get some pressure, and all you have to do there is get like double team him,
I
And
know.
so I think he's being. I mean, if that's the only major threat to the rush that you have to worry about, I mean, Carl Nassib isn't really
Those
bending
guys
around the
make
corner to
plays,
get
but that's
sacks.
because
Yeah,
Garrett's taken up by a couple guys or whatever. So
yeah. So I'm having a hard time. I didn't see much in that game that, and you know, I will say this. It's another game where I don't think the score accurately depicted how competitive the game was.
yeah, Baltimore got, it's just those plays where
That bullshit play on the goal line, that
oh
fumble
yeah, that was
that Kaiser, yeah. I mean, that's a 7-point swing, right?
right.
So yeah, however, I guess if I had to pick a silver lining, that drive with when Crow had the 59-yard rush
That
and then
was
Duke Johnson, that
yeah,
run,
that got the stadium pumping and like
I don't know how that run. Well, I do know because it's on the Browns. But Duke Johnson's cut on his touchdown run was literally like a video game.
yeah,
It was like a straight lateral juke, like 90-degree, just straight to the side, and a guy just completely whiffed. Like, talk about breaking ankles. That guy just completely like lunged at air because Duke Johnson was able to get out of his way like laterally
yeah,
so quickly.
yeah.
It was amazing, but since it's the Browns, he won't get any hype for it. Even though I was like, when I watched it back again, I remember watching it live and I was like, that was awesome, but I didn't realize how intense the juke was.
Yeah,
But
that was a nice play. I mean, Duke, he's a special guy that he's one of those players that the Browns like. I mean, he kind of reminds me of like if he was on the Saints, he would almost look like Kamara.
yeah,
If he had the talent around him and um,
yeah,
was able to play with a quarterback like Drew Brees. I mean, he just kind of reminds you of Kamara. He's just um, they also have Mark Ingram, who's like one of the best backs in the league.
they
So
both made the Pro Bowl for the first time
that's
in like 20 years or
I
something.
think the Browns got one alternate and Joel. I forget who it was. I think Kirksey.
Schobert.
Schobert was an
Yeah.
alternate, and then Batonio was a
I'm
second
surprised
alternate.
I'm surprised Kirksey didn't get it.
Yeah,
But let's speaking of players, like there are a few talented players on the team.
yeah,
You know, let's just do a little exercise where of our starters on offense and defense,
okay,
let's count how many guys we think are guaranteed spots next year as starters, not
okay,
on the team,
okay.
just as starters. So with John Dorsey, obviously going to be over. I think he's going to be overhauling the roster. I think through the
Oh,
draft
definitely,
you'll
definitely.
add five to 8 starters. You could potentially add through the draft with our picks this year. Free
Yep.
agency, another 4 or 5 guys. So you're talking double-digit guys that could be new starters for us. So
Right. Okay.
let's
So
just
let's
run
go
through
through
the roster,
the
starting with
offense
offense.
first. Yep. Okay. So we got. I'm just gonna
So let's
run
start
through
with the
the.
line.
Yep.
Start with the line. So Joe Thomas, guaranteed. If he
Guaranteed.
doesn't retire, guaranteed.
Yep.
Then
Batonio.
Batonio, guaranteed.
Guaranteed.
It's 2.
J.C. Treader.
I think
Been
guaranteed.
guaranteed. Yep. Kevin
Zeitler,
Zeitler. Guaranteed.
guaranteed.
Coleman gone.
No
Cut
way.
him. He
no,
is.
no way.
He got another.
Get him out.
I was looking up stats of Holding before last week's podcast, and I was like, he is like, he's one of the most penalized linemen in the NFL, and I just can't believe it. And then he goes and gets like a false start and another holding call during that game, and I was just like, oh my gosh! Like I know he's only a second year player, but oh my
Yeah.
gosh, he's
So
gone. Okay.
Yep. So I'm glad we started with the strongest part because I think it's going to get a little thinner
Yeah,
now.
it's gonna.
Okay,
it's
so let's
gonna,
go to backfield, offensive backfield.
Okay.
Crow, I
Gone.
think gone,
Yeah.
gone.
Yeah.
Duke, I think he's not a starter now. I think he has a spot on the team, but I still don't think he's going to be a starter next year. So I don't want to include him in this.
I think he's guaranteed. I think he's good enough to guarantee that at least the same position he has right now. I don't think he's going to move up to a starter, but
yeah. So do we count him at all?
I mean he's not technically the starting running back.
Right.
That's Crow. So I think, but the
We'll
here's
count him as a half. We'll
right.
count him
Here's
as a
what
half.
I think. Here's what we're
So-
trying to say. Duke is gonna obviously be on a team next year, but we're gonna draft or pick someone else up in free agency that's still gonna be the number one running back.
Yeah.
Okay,
So let's not count him as like
so not, yeah,
he
he's not a starter.
we're
you know.
talking just guaranteed returning starters. That's
Right.
all. So if he's not a starter now, then he doesn't qualify for
Okay.
this. So
Fullback.
out to receiver, fullback, Danny Vitale, out. I've heard his name twice this whole season.
Yeah.
I think he caught a screen pass for
think he-
-1 yard.
I
So.
think he led the Browns out when we watched them on Sunday. I
Did
think
he really?
Let him out of the locker room at the beginning of the game. So
What does that tell you? A guy that you've never heard on the broadcast leaving him out.
He's-
That tells you about the veteran depth on our team.
right,
So that's four receiver.
four keepers, right?
Tell me one receiver you think is guaranteed a starting role next year. Can you name me one? You think Josh Gordon is? I don't.
Guaranteed? No one, not guaranteed. No one's guaranteed a starting role. Yeah,
I think you can make an argument against all three of our starting receivers next year being gone or not having the same role.
Well, I mean, if you look at the second string and back, like I know we're not really doing that, but Lewis, Higgins, Coates, those guys are gone.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. We should do two exercises, one where we do returning starters, one where we do returning players off the 53-man roster.
Yeah.
Because Higgins, Lewis, and freaking who's the other one? Oh, yeah, Coates.
Coates, yeah.
Don't even deserve to freaking strap up in the NFL.
No.
But
and I see there's who is? Do you know who Matt Hazel is? He
he's
must have been brought up
end?
from the. No, he's listed as a wide receiver. There's a Matt Hazel that's a wide receiver and a Matt Langle that's a tight end.
No idea.
I've never heard of either of them.
Those guys are gone.
What do you think about? Yeah. Okay. So the starting. Okay. According to the depth chart on the Browns, Randall Telfer is a starting tight end. Gone. Not a starter next year. Not a guaranteed starter next year. Do you see Njoku just moving up to that spot, or do you think it's a battle between him and DeValve?
I think Njoku is going to be there.
Yeah,
yeah.
He's got the talent. I think it's just kind of like let's maybe let him learn some blocking schemes from these two kind of veterans, and then next year that's your spot.
Okay, so Njoku. So
okay.
Telfair doesn't count. He will not return as a starter. So we're at 4. So let's go to the receiver position and only do 3 receivers.
3 receivers. Okay.
So it'd be Josh Gordon, Corey Coleman, and who would our third be?
Lewis or Higgins.
Lewis.
Let's say Higgins. Gordon, Coleman, Higgins.
Well, number 3 is gone. I don't think Higgins or Lewis. Whoever is our number 3 is gone.
I think Josh Gordon's the only one out of those 3 that has a chance to still be he maybe get bumped to wide receiver 2 depending on who we get in the draft, but I think he's still from what he's shown at least these few games, as you know, if he can show that same drive going into the next season, I think he could guarantee that like wide receiver number 2 spot.
I am just so hesitant. I think it'll be. I think it could be John Dorsey who does something with him, like try to flip him for something.
Okay.
But I think he could do that. But I'm way less, optimistic about Josh Gordon making it through an entire offseason without having any hiccups.
What about I just thought of this. What if the Browns during the draft, whoever chooses Calvin Ridley, they say, you can choose him. Like they're in trade talks with these teams, and they say, well, you can choose him, but you're going to flip him right to us for Josh Gordon.
I would do that in a heartbeat.
Yeah, I kind of like that.
Yeah,
I kind of like
it
that
too. So
okay, so
let's keep this going. So let's say one receiver comes back as a starter.
So we've got 5 total in the last position. Your favorite position? QB 1.
No chance.
Yeah, no.
I wish. I seriously do. I think. I don't know how Kessler and Zane Gonzalez are still on this fucking team.
Oh,
I really
gosh.
don't. It baffles me. But I guess you have to have a backup QB who has, you know, a game where he hasn't turned the ball over 6 times. So, which that's more than you can say about your boy Hogan.
Yeah. Oh gosh.
So okay, so that's really 5 we feel comfortable with,
5. Yep.
and that's basically the offensive line
Basically, yes.
plus a receiver.
Plus,
And let me just say, I hope so badly that I think everyone is rightfully really keeping a close eye on Josh Gordon, but genuinely I hope that he does have it turned around. And like today,
I really do too.
I think he is a Hollywood player. I mean, he's like a prima donna. That's who he is.
Yeah,
He's a T.O. Des Bryant type,
right, exactly.
type talent. So that's who he is. But a lot of people have been like, you're on an 0-14 team. Like, you can't be doing these shades thing. And it's like, like that's the player he is. That's the edge that he brings. Yeah. So I really do hope that he has it turned around, but because he can realistically kind of change the league.
Oh,
I mean,
easily.
he just the way that he's built, the speed that he has, how strong he is. Like, you watch the guy walk around, he's a monster. So, I mean, I hope for his sake, both like personally and professionally, that he does have it put together and he's not like a ticking time bomb.
Yeah.
Because and I hope he's bought into the Browns and the numerous chances we've given him, because he could be such a difference maker. And I think it's hard not to. I think it's hard, or I guess it's easy to get disengaged when you're on a shitty team.
Right.
So if you give him, a decent quarterback,
yeah,
that's not missing you on long balls, and when you have a couple steps on a guy is hitting you in stride for 60-yard TD bombs, he has that type of talent.
Oh yeah,
so,
definitely.
So anyway,
I really think if whoever the Browns decides to go with as quarterback, hopefully they go with someone in free agency, because that means that he can start to practice with Josh Gordon as soon as they can sign him, and have 3 months of practice before they get to preseason and all that stuff. So I think a full off season and preseason with the team, as long as he can keep his head straight. I mean, he can if he can put up some of those 200-yard receiving games like he had back in, I think, 2014. Those changed the entire season of the Browns. I mean, we still only won like 6 games that year, but it just seemed like the whole season was flipped over when we saw the talent that he brought to the team. So, okay, so we had 5 out of 11 guaranteed. Basically, like you said, all the linemen except for Sean Coleman and one of the wide receiver spots. So let's move to defense. Start on the front guys here. Garrett.
Myles Garrett, good.
Yep, good. Shelton, good.
Good.
Agba. I mean, he'll be back next year. Is that what we're thinking of, or we're thinking of starters now?
I don't. Yeah, I say start like our day one starters are when we're fully healthy.
Right.
So I don't, and you may disagree with me, I don't think Agba is guaranteed a starting spot next year. I like him. I think that we could upgrade that position.
Yeah. I mean, looking at the crystal ball view of Agba and looking just at him and his position, I think no. But looking at the overall of the Browns and all the other places that we have to upgrade at, definitely keep him as a starter, because he is good enough that we should not have to worry about him, and we can go and spend money or draft picks in other places.
I'll just be interested to see, because this draft is, everyone said it was a weak draft early on, but I think you're seeing that the top end the first 2 or 3 rounds I think are going to be strong.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, for example, if with our second first round pick, if it's around number 5, 6, 7, whatever, if the best defensive end is available, the best defensive end in the draft is available with that pick, do you pass up on him? Do you think Dorsey passes up on him because he's so confident in Agba? I say no.
Probably not.
But that's rare. But I see what you're saying too. Like on a team with potentially 12 starting roles needing addressed, 12 to 14.
Yeah.
Like I see what you're saying too. So I agree. I think there's probably 8 or 9 other positions that we need to address before we address that that position.
When you I don't know why I randomly thought of this. Maybe it's just a sports guy head thinking, my brain thinking. But when you said that, a lot of people are thinking like, oh, this is going to be a bad draft class, and it's like you really can't evaluate how bad a draft class is going to be until 3-4 years down the road.
Yeah,
because I was a lot of people have been talking about this lately. If you look at the 2013 NBA draft, which is the draft that the Cavs unfortunately chose Anthony Bennett as the number 1 overall pick. But people were saying that was one of the worst drafts in at least a decade or so. But you look, like Victor Oladipo was in that draft, Otto Porter was in that draft, Nerlens Noel was in that draft, Kelly Olynyk, Giannis, like Dennis Schrader, so Tim Hardaway Jr. So I think it does take a lot of 3 or 4 years to really flesh out these guys and see where they really sit. I don't know why that randomly popped in my head, but I just wanted to share that.
I'm glad you said that, because that's a really good point, because it's so easy to get caught up in, and I'm guilty as anyone of it, is when someone gets drafted to say, well, I don't like what he did in college and I don't like him for this reason. But, I think any player that's drafted, you can go back and it's a different game. College football is a different game than the NFL.
Completely different.
Yeah, so that's a really good point, because it's like who dictates what a good draft pick is other than that player after having 2 or 3 years experience.
Right.
Like, not fucking Mel Kiper. Kiper doesn't know shit.
Yeah.
Like,
exactly. Like they rate them based on their college performance, but it's like, well, shit, like Adam Morrison and JJ Redick were the 2 best players in college the year they came out for the draft. And I mean, JJ Redick's had a great career, but they're not the 2 best players in the NBA from that same thing. So
and there's just so many things that, like, I don't think the Mel Kipers and McShays and those draft gurus, and I still watch them, so I'm guilty of it, but like they don't know how he'll fit into a coaching scheme, or how Greg Williams is going to use
Jabril Peppers.
Yeah. Like so anyway, okay, so let's keep going.
Okay, so we've got
7.
So 2 on the defensive line. Do you think Nassib? He's not.
No, we're going to include Agba.
Okay, so Garrett and Agba.
So that's a total right now. Of 8.
8. So Garrett, Agba, and Shelton. What about Nassib?
He's not a starter, is he? We run a 4-3 or 3-4.
We run a
3-4. We run a 3-4, right?
We're 4-3 because we have Kirksey, Schobert, and Burgess, or Jamie Collins. That's our.
Okay. Wait, so we're missing a defensive tackle. Is that?
Well, Agba's
an end.
Okay, so then.
Is it?
I guess. Well, Coley or Ogunjobi would be the other tackle.
So let's not count them as back.
Okay, yeah, they're not back.
I think that's
so Garrett, Shelton, and Agba over Nassib, because Agba would start over Nassib. Okay,
right.
Okay, we got it now. Okay. Okay, let's move on to linebackers.
So that's 8 total right now.
8 total. So linebackers, we got Kirksey, Schobert, and then you want to say Jamie Collins?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think those guys are all back.
I think I
think 2 of 3. I think honestly, believe it or not, Schobert could be the odd man out.
The guy that's gone?
Yeah.
Really?
I think he's just a really good hustle player on a really bad team.
Yeah. Yeah.
I hope that's not the case. I think he just flies around and makes plays.
Really does.
Because no one else can or will.
I mean,
I love the guy.
right, when you're the only one making tackles, does a nose for the ball translate to when you actually have a pretty good defense? I don't
Yeah.
know. It's he's kind of like that guy that's playing high school football at a Division 5 level, and he's the fastest, the most athletic kid, so he plays quarterback and linebacker, and he's making all the tackles, and it's like, well, you're playing against, all these kids, and it's just like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I do think though that I think this is another situation where you kind of look at it's the same as the situation I was describing with Agba. If you look at each of these linebackers individually, then yes, they probably are not NFL starters.
Well, then here's my ultimatum.
Shoot me.
I'll give you Schobert or I'll give you Agba. I won't give you both as returning starters. You have to pick one.
Agba.
Okay, so we'll say now we're up to 10. So we're saying 2 of the 3 linebacker positions will be back as starters. So we're up to 10.
Do you see any of the secondary guaranteeing their starting spot?
No, not one.
Not even McCourty.
Well, we talked about this earlier.
Yeah.
And McCourty, he'd be the only one because I think they talked early on of McCourty playing even free safety because it's not as because as you get older you can lose a step and still play pretty good free safety because you don't have to be like as reactive and stuff. So that happened. They were even talking about potentially moving Joe Hayden to play some free safety. I think he was playing some free safety before he got cut. So yeah, I think McCourty. I really hope that he's back. I would think Jabril Peppers because of the draft pick that he was.
Yeah. Do you think he would?
You know who I think the best corner on our team is freaking Brian Body Calhoun.
Nakua?
No. Nakua is guaranteed a dumpster spot.
He is guaranteed. He's second cut to Kenny Britt.
Yeah.
I guess Zane Gonzalez.
Third. Thank you. Zane Gonzalez is second.
Yeah, I mean, bring Body Calhoun is he's definitely pretty good.
Are you there?
Yes, I'm there.
Okay, cool. So
so what are we up to now? We up to 12 with McCourty?
McCourty, and I think Jabril Peppers is probably going to get at least one more year shot.
So that's...
Okay, so 12 of 22.
So that's 10. That's double-digit people that we are replacing, and like 3 of those people that we chose to stay as starters, we were kind of like,
yeah.
You could replace them. I would be okay with replacing them. Yeah, that's... Man.
So it's going to be a fun offseason.
It's going to be a very fun offseason.
I'm so sick of playing the long game. Like, we've tried that.
Right.
We've tried to, like, just you know what? Go out and spend $60 million of your $100 million and draft. I mean, like I said, we could get 5 starters in the draft and then get 5 starters in free agency, and then there we go.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, it's, look at other tanking and processes that happen. Like, shit, the Sixers weren't this bad for this long, and like fucking Houston, they were. I mean, God, if you look at an NFL or an NBA, an MLB team that wins 26 games out of their season, which never fucking happens. A team is never that bad. That's 16% winning percentage on the season. That's 2.5 wins in the NFL. It's like how the Browns should never be this bad. I just can't believe that it seems unreal that they have been this bad for this long.
Well, and that's why, like I said, I think that is the one thing, in John Dorsey's past life, he took a 4-12 Chiefs team and made them playoffs next year.
Yeah.
So at the very least, we should be seeing 7-8 wins. God, God willing, next year. But
Man.
I think that all hinges on who he brings in at quarterback.
Right.
If he's going to rely on a rookie quarterback to come in here, I think we're no further off. That's why I think, I'm still in the position. Why waste that pick on someone that you're not fully sold, unless you're fully sold on Darnold or whoever it is.
Right. Yeah.
Like, I think you bring someone in free agency and you let Kaiser sit for 2 or 3 years behind a guy like Kirk Cousins or even Alex Smith,
right.
maybe.
I mean, go ahead. I want to say something later.
No, and I just think that, like, I've seen enough, and everyone wants to beat up on him, but I've seen enough from Kaiser to still think that if he wasn't completely just ruined, like, and set up for failure from the beginning, between being young, between having a shitty team around him, between this head coach who has this pressure to win games and wants to yo-yo him back and forth, and doesn't have an offensive coordinator, and doesn't have a veteran quarterback. Like, the list goes on of things that he's endured.
Right.
And why I think that, if given some stability, that he could be good down the road.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. I've a little question for you. So after the McCarron debacle at the trade deadline, and after seeing how good Garoppolo looks in San Francisco, how much do you think those two things factored into Sashi getting canned? I mean, Garoppolo looks like a godsend. Why the hell weren't we really, like, pursuing him?
Well, that's the question. If I had one question that I could get the answer to, it would be I think that would be it. They didn't
even give up that much for him. If you went by his performance now, fucking New England would be asking for a first and a second rounder.
Yeah, that would be the question I want to answer, because I would have been mad if we traded a second and a third for McCarron, but I would have easily, if this Texans pick ends up being number 5 or 4 or whatever, seeing how Garoppolo is played, and even his interaction and his leadership, the guy, like, he's going to be a stud. I don't have any doubt in my mind. So
yeah,
I would have traded a 1 for him, and I just would like the answer. And maybe a lot of people asked if the botched McCarron at the press conference of John Dorsey asked Haslam if the botched McCarron trade had anything to do with his firing, and he said no. But no one asked if the fact that he couldn't land with more assets. Nobody asked if not getting Garoppolo was the reason.
Right. That's
so.
It's really true.
I think that makes more sense, because, like I said, McCarron hasn't sat behind the greatest quarterback of all time for 4 years and learned the system. So I don't know. I wish we would have had a shot at Garoppolo, because the Niners, man, they put some picks together next year, and I think they're right back in that NFC West hunt.
Yeah, I really agree. And there's some people in the national media that they're kind of joking, but kind of not really, and they want to see what happens if you left one of those players, or left one of those spots open in the playoffs and had a battle royale, all the teams play for it, and they'd kind of like San Francisco's odds to go against, like, these other teams that, I mean, they're still a bad team. Their defense is pretty crappy, but throw them in the AFC 6 spot, and, like, they're better than Tennessee.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
All right. So to wrap up, our little depth chart, are you gonna be my starter? We had what, 12 of the 22. We can.
Well, that's where we'll set the over under.
We're stretching. So, yeah, it's 11.5 over under. Go to mybookie.ag, promo code. Here we go, and you get nothing. So,
and if you're reaching out to try to get some merch with asking us a question for next week's pod, feel free to tell us the over under and who you think we were wrong about, and who you think
definitely.
we were right about. So we want to start interacting
a
little bit better.
All caps in the subject lines, all caps in the comments. So it seemed like I just want to say this really quick. We're trying to wrap this up here. You know, out of our depth chart, it seemed like the lines are pretty offensive and defensive are pretty solid,
Yep.
and on the defensive side, you know, the linebacker core too is pretty solid. Um, so you know, shout out to my brother Charles Hebel, of Shelby, Ohio fame. He sent me this little snippet. Um, Fewest. So this is the fewest yard. It's a graphic of the fewest yards per rush allowed in the last 10 seasons, and the Cleveland Browns are on this list. They are fifth. They have allowed the fifth fewest yards per rush allowed in the last 10 seasons. Can you guess what three of the four teams did that are ahead of them?
Went to the Super Bowl.
Went to the Super Bowl. 20,
Get
2008 Steelers won the Super Bowl. 2015 Broncos won the Super Bowl. And the 2010 Steelers lost the Super Bowl. And then the Detroit Lions are the other team, and they lost in the wild card game. But the Browns are 0-14 during the season that happened.
what the hell?
So that there's like that's the craziest thing about the Browns is like yeah, going to the games and watching it and like these boneheaded plays make zero sense, but then you look at like how good the rush defense is and it also makes zero sense.
But do you think? I'm always a bit skeptical about the stat against the run defense because I feel like everyone can just get whatever they want passing the ball.
That's a
So
little true. Yeah, I feel like, you know, I think the Browns have maybe like the 18th overall um, defense just because their passing is so bad.
yeah, which is better than last year. I think it was 29th or 30th, so that's quite an
Yeah,
improvement.
definitely. And our running defense was not, that good. Like I said,
Yeah.
fifth fewest yards in the past 10 years. So, all right, so that wraps up our. We took a little look back at last week's game with the Ravens, which we were both unfortunately at. Fortunately, it did not rain on us. We just had to deal with cold weather for a little bit. Um,
Freezing.
Freezing weather.
Yeah.
We had a couple beer jackets on. I'll say
Yeah.
that. A couple beer layers. But
Same.
so we already starting to get into some of this off season look ahead. So let's rear it back. Let's quickly go over. Browns are at the Chicago Bears, the Bears, back in your hometown of like 2 years, just under 2 years. You were there, so
No, not even close.
not even
Not even
close.
close. Like 10 months, Bill. You're
Oh my
close though.
gosh! Wow. Okay, 2 years, 10 months. I said under 2 years. You got to give it to me there.
Yeah.
Um,
Right.
So are you okay? So the line is the Bears are favored by 6.5. Are you?
No
is,
chance.
is this isn't another Hugh Jackson Christmas Eve victory?
I got the Browns covering.
Ooh. Okay, so after we watched the last game, I had been kind of after probably week 10, I had been thinking maybe the Browns could cover, like maybe they're going to do something, but last week just nope, take the other team. I'm taking the Mitchell Trubisky's.
Ah,
I'm taking the Bears.
how the tides change, Bill. How the tides
Yes.
change.
Oh, how the turntables. Uh, it just they haven't. They need to. I got to take another team until they show me something. This like we said, we were internal optimists, and this whole year I was just hoping and praying that they're going to show me something, and they've shown the smallest of flashes, no pun intended, Josh Gordon, that they can compete in the NFL. But I know it's Chicago. I know they're bad too, but it's the Browns, and then I can't.
I tell you
I
what,
can't do it this week.
if we don't win this game, I think you should move that percentage of being defeated 0-16 to about 100. Because there's no chance, I don't care what you have on the line, that a Steelers team
Oh
coming
yeah,
into or going to the Steelers
right.
with a chance for the Steelers to make us 0-16 historical embarrassment, there's no doubt they win that game.
Right.
No doubt in my
Especially
mind.
if
So,
well, who does let's see here. Who does Jacksonville have? Because right now Jacksonville is in the front seat to clinch the bye in the first round of the playoffs because they beat the Steelers earlier in the year, so they have the head to head. So if that Browns game comes down to, say who's Jacksonville had? Let me see. They played at San Francisco, so probably going to win that game. But
yep.
week 17, they have the Titans, which who knows what happens with the Titans. So, but you have that game. I mean, if Jacksonville wins out, and I think Pittsburgh has to lose one more game, but it could come down to that last game for that bye week in the playoffs, and the Steelers are definitely not going to let the Browns do anything on them.
But that being said, I just this is the last ounce of optimism I have, Bill, and I don't even know why.
For this season, are you? We're still optimistic about the Browns' future. Let's get that straight. We're still
for this. This is taking. I haven't been more negative on the Browns at any point, obviously, than right now this year.
Yeah,
this year, and and the reason I'm picking them to cover the spread is my logic behind it, whether it's sound or not, is we're a 7-point dog to the Ravens. So the fact that we're a 6.5-point dog to the Bears, even though it's at home, the home and away doesn't mean as much to me. So I think we'll cover. I did not say. I think we'll win.
We could get to, we have to cover against the Steelers, but we could, maybe I think we're close to covering for the last 8.
Yeah. Hey. Nice. That's what I meant all season. If we're going to cover, I'd rather cover for the last 8 than.
I heard it. I knew what you were saying, but no one else gets to see you every week. So that's, All right. So do you have any players to watch, or I don't really have anyone. I'm just watching for people not to get injured at this point.
Did you see Derek Kindred IR?
Yeah.
So I don't know who the F is going to be starting at free safety or whatever, Nicole or
maybe Nikai. Maybe they'll move Taylor to safety.
Yeah, who knows? Would love to see an interception. Haven't seen one of those in about 8 weeks.
Man, that was my biggest takeaway. Is where the fuck are the takeaways?
Yeah, right.
Right. It's so bad. I don't know. I don't even know when the only memory I have this entire year is that damn Jason McCourty interception that I bring up every other week on the podcast because that's the only.
That was in garbage time.
Yeah, that was against the Colts in garbage time. Right. Yeah. It's oh my gosh, that's the only thing I can remember.
That's the only interception I can remember. I'm telling you.
I don't know. I looked up the stats last week and it was 3 other people had interceptions, but I was like, when did this happen? Is this preseason stats included?
Yeah.
I don't know.
So I guess I don't have any players to watch either. I just
bet the money line, bet against the Browns.
Yeah. Keep your fingers crossed, say a little prayer, and hope Hugh Jackson keeps his hot streak alive.
Say a prayer for us. We only have 2 weeks until the off season, but it's pretty dark.
No one's ever beat Hugh Jackson on Christmas Eve.
That's
dating back to Oakland. So yeah.
Wow.
Put that on your resume, Hugh.
He's a man of Jesus.
Yeah. So with that, that's it for us. Don't forget to email in your question. What was that website again, Bill?
Mailbag at herewegocleveland.com.
Oh, yeah. Mailbag at herewegocleveland.com. Let us know what you think about the over-under of 12 returning starters next year. Be interested to get your guys' feedback.
We didn't go into Zane Gonzalez and Colquitt.
No.
Do you want to get
Colquitt's my boy. He'll definitely be back. Zane Gonzalez will be unemployed next year at this time. No doubt.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Maybe we could get
So
Robbie Gold. He got cut.
yeah,
Why don't we
there's
pick
like a
him up?
million kickers out. There's a
Yeah,
million. They're a dime a dozen to get like a quality kicker that can hit 30-yarders, which
right.
Zane cannot.
He
So
cannot. So, all right. That
that
being
does it.
said, that does it for this week's
Merry
edition.
Christmas to
Week
all. Have
16.
a
Yeah,
blessed have a blessed Christmas.
do we want to give a for the three people that have stopped listening after our goodbye? Do we want to give a picks for the Cavs Warriors Christmas special? How are you,
Cavs.
Cavs? Yeah. I mean, you know,
Cavs by 4.
I think it's gonna be really close too, because I don't know if Draymond's gonna be back yet, but obviously Steph's out,
Yeah.
but Durant has been playing like crazy. But I just think, yeah, I think the Cavs are. Is it at Oakland or is it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oakland. Yep.
I think Cavs by 6.
You know what? It might not be because it's 3 o'clock Eastern, which would be noon.
Should be
So
a
it's
noon
probably
game.
here, maybe. They wouldn't have a noon game on Christmas, would they? Seems a bit early. Are you looking it
I'm
up?
on ESPN right now. It's 3 p.m. at the Warriors.
Wow.
Yeah, so it
3
is
p.m. 3 p.m. Eastern.
3 p.m. Eastern. So it is a
So
noon.
it's a noon game. Wow,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
crazy. That sucks.
I know.
That sucks.
I know.
So, all right,
But-
yeah, Cavs by 4. Go Cavs. IT coming back next week. We're going
IT.
to transition into basketball here over the next few weeks. Have a couple of special guests lined up.
Couple of special guests.
Yeah,
Perfect. All
Yeah.
right. Shout out to Kane's Graphics. Thank you for printing the merch, getting it to us in a nice and timely fashion.
shirt guy,
Not sponsored.
your
Kane's-
screen print guy,
Kane's,
shirt guy.
my shirt guy. Shout out to them. Our hats are awesome. We love the hats. Yeah, thanks to everyone listening this far and this far into the season even. I know as a Browns fan it must be hard. And this time of year it gets especially harder to give out your time to do anything else other than listen to Browns media.
Yeah.
So, all right, another invigorating rendition of Here We Go Cleveland podcast. Signing out. I don't know if we sign out ever again, but Bill Hebel, Michael Zappa, take it easy.
Late.
Merry Christmas, you fucks.